Today's episode is part 1 of a Multiverse Tales What If community redraw. My subscribers have been sending in their own variants of my original Multiverse Tales characters, and today I'm going to show off the submissions, redraw some of my favorites, and present the lore for them through conversation between good old Benny Sharp and friends, as they once again go to visit the Akashic Records. And if you don't know what that means, that's fine, because Benny or someone will provide exposition that makes it clear what's going on. So let's get into it, shall we? Let's go! Hit like if you want, subscribe if you feel like, but either way, enjoy the show.
Ayo, pop open them peepers, Record Keeper. We're back to hear about more weird alternate versions of us. Where you at?
I am right here, Benny. Welcome back to the Akashic Records.
Hey, there you are, you big floating orb of soup or whatever you is. Did you miss us?
As I told you previously, I do not perceive time the same way you do, so you may as well have left seconds ago, though I am pleased to see you again.
Why, Benny, did you call her a big orb of soup? Is that seriously what you see when you're looking at her? Huh? I didn't know big soup beings with floating orbs all around them had genders. I mean, you know, most of the ones I done met don't anyway. Ignoring the implication that you've met other soup beings, why didn't you say nothing last time we was here when I looked at her and said she looked like an angel? I don't know what you think angels look like in your dimension. Maybe they look like big soup balls. I mean, some folks in my dimension think angels look like big bundles of wings and eyeballs, even though the beings described that way in the book of Ezekiel is actually just celestial beings, not angels. Okay, since when do you know stuff about the Bible? I was raised on it as a kid, but never really kept up with it, you know? Not big on organized, well, anything. But after I was literally brought back from the dead on Easter Monday this year in a church to fight a demon, I felt a sort of kinship with old Jesus, you know? Thought I'd flip through the old book again, and you know what, I had a good time with it. Not gonna go back to eating body crackers and drinking wine blood on Sunday mornings, but there are some fun stories in there. Fun is one way to describe the Bible, I guess. But anyway, I'm guessing everybody sees you different then, right, Record Keeper? Like with the actual records?
You are correct, Dr. McGregor. Nor the records or myself have genuine physical forms. The records often appear like a library of some variety to most, because that is what comes to most people's minds when they imagine a facility that would store all the information and history from yours and other multiverses. Like the records themselves, I do not technically have a physical form. You are simply perceiving me as what your mind would imagine for one of the beings in charge of watching over a place such as this.
Alright, so then can you see us normal-like? In case you can't, we also brought our buddy Archibald, since Basilia is busy flirting with an alien catman or whatever she's doing, and you should note that regardless of how you is seeing him, he's a gopher with a ray gun, which, granted, sounds like a goofy thing I'd just make up, but in this case it actually is the truth. Right, Archie?
I haven't the faintest idea what he is talking about. I am a regular human man, though a far superior one to either of my counterparts here.
I can in fact see you all in the physical forms you take in your regular third-dimensional lives, so I can see that what you have stated is false, though I could change my perception of you to appear human if you so desired.
Intriguing, but no, I would request that you perceive me as a 20-foot-tall gopher with large draconic wings. That is the variation of myself I have depicted upon my vision board.
Oh, I want in on this too. Can you see me as a hippopotamus with the arms of a gorilla and the wings of a dragonfly? Wings of a dragonfly? Wouldn't those be kinda useless on something the size of a hippo? You'd think so. By all known laws of aviation, the hippopotarillafly should not be able to fly. Alright, I'm gonna keep us on track here. Record Keeper, we wanted to hear about some other versions of folks in our group of multiverse jumping super friends. That was pretty interesting last time we was here, but, you know, we was wondering about some of our other friends, not just us.
Of course. Is there any particular individual you would like to hear about similar versions of first?
I was thinking we could start off simple, like with our buddy Heath Hurricane Reynolds. He's a big guy who fights Kaiju in his world with his super strength and weird weather powers that sometimes accidentally activate when he uses his abilities. I was wondering if we could flip the script and there was a Kaiju version of him. I mean, in a bunch of our friends' universes, there's like Spider-Man dragons, Pokemon SCPs, Disney princess demons and stuff, so why not a Kaiju version of one of us?
Well, let me see. I don't currently sense a being such as that in your current time in the multiverse, but I could show you what that potential looks like if you wish.
Potential? Like this is a thing that might happen?
Yes, you see, in some other iterations of the multiverse, every single potential that could ever exist was playing out simultaneously. Your multiverse was structured differently. Instead of every reality playing out at once, there were distinct different dimensions created, but within each is still essentially the potential for anything imaginable to occur, though with varying degrees of likelihood. I can show you what it will look like if a future occurs in which a kaiju version of your friend Heath does come to pass.
But wait. Last time we was here, you said something about the future, past, and present all happening at once. So, shouldn't you already know if that future does play out?
Ah, precisely.
Ah, great, you're doing that thing again. Well, alright, whatever, yeah, just show us this potential kaiju Heath then.
Of course. The images now playing in your minds are from the future of a dimension where humans and kaiju have lived in peace for millennia. Kaiju have tended to only attack humans when they themselves are threatened first, though there are the odd violent kaiju who have struck out against humans unprovoked. As rare as this occurrence was, there were still humans that thought it best for humanity to wipe out the kaiju and have humans reign as the sole dominant species on the planet.
A perfectly reasonable resolution. Why share dominance of a world when you can assert your own as the solitary paw of control?
Jeez, am I the only one worried that the Gopher is gonna have, like, the opposite of a redemption arc at some point? I don't know, I think if anyone was gonna betray us, it's still more likely to be Harry Boy. Archie talks a big game, but I think he's just having a goof about, you know?
Or is that simply what I want you to think?
Great, well, we'll deal with that later. Anyway, go on, Keeper.
The humans of this realm had been advancing their technology in secret until they had weaponry that could slay a kaiju with a fair degree of ease. They struck out against the kaiju and annihilated so many that, in a few short years, extinction did become a genuine threat. Kaiju were starting to go into hiding to escape evisceration at the hands of the humans. But one stood up against the threat, soon inspiring many others. He will be called Hurricane, the Disaster Kaiju. He is a 400-foot-tall beast, one of the largest of the kaiju in his world. He has strength and durability impressive even for his massive stature. He also has the ability to charge up devastating strikes of his fists, feet, or tail that can level a city. He is called Hurricane because as he charges his mighty blows, storms will emerge in the skies above that linger even after he has left the site of a battle.
Wow, that does sound pretty sweet. Hey, so, can you predict who would win in a fight between our Heath and this Kaiju Heath?
Yes, well, assumptions show that the Kaiju version would come out victorious if they were forced to fight. Though, seeing as how the Reaper is an ally of yours, with the aid of a Reaper Rise, he could certainly take victory himself.
Reaper Rise? What the heck is that?
Yes, I apologize, you have not learned of that yet. Wiping it from your memories now.
Wait, what? Did you just wipe something from my memories again? That always messes with me. I really don't like it when you do that.
The jest is on you, Record Keeper, as I still recall exactly what was revealed.
That is not true. I can see your memory field, and the memory of what I stated is no longer there.
That is what you think.
Hey Archie, you could tell me what it was later, yeah?
I can tell you now, Sharp. She said you are going to die in precisely 3 months.
That is not something I stated, as I cannot reveal to you when any of you will leave your physical forms permanently.
Do not listen. It is true. Your death is imminent.
That's fine, even if it is true. I've died twice now. It ain't that big a deal. Alright, I got a good one next. Is there now, or in some potential future, a version of our buddies Kayla and Charlie, but like, where they're swapped? Swapped? What do you mean by swapped? Well, you know, Kayla was a regular gal that got a symbiotic robot buddy attached to her. Charlie, who can transform a body and upgrade her with different weapons and stuff, right? Well, I want to know if there's a version of Charlie that was some kind of robot being that got attached to by some fleshy human sort of upgrade. Oh god, that sounds like it'll look disgusting. Like that parasite anime, but even weirder.
Only from the twisted mind of one such as yourself could this idea spawn. I respect the conception, Sharp. When I kill all your friends, other than Skinner and Scythe, of course, I will leave you till last.
Much appreciated there, little buddy. Getting real overt there about being a psychopath. Really wish some of the more sane members of the group was here to hear that, but whatever, record keeper, what you got? Hope this ain't as nasty as it sounds like it'd be.
Well, there is a potential future that is closer on the possible horizon that could see something such as this happening. It occurs in a world where humanity has wiped itself out through wars and plagues, but prior to their demise, they had created sentient robotic life. A group of the robots called the Eldertrons had originally been designed for war, but became wise enough to see that this was not a path worth seeking for robot kind. They even attempted to help the last gasps of humanity to turn back to a more peaceful path, but they failed. To amend their perceived failure, they decided to do all they could to repopulate the world with robot kind and help lead the world's new primary residents into a peaceful future free of wars.
Wow, that is some lore right there. Sounds like someone put an impressive amount of work into this. I almost feel bad interrupting to make little jokes and quips and stuff, but you know, I'm still gonna do that anyway. I mean, it's just a prediction made by the records, right? Nobody put work into this. Sure, yeah. Anyway, go on, Keeper.
The being you seek to learn of is JR-CL12, or Charlie. He is a young bot who is quite energetic, friendly, and outgoing, but also very wrought with anxiety.
Why would these Eldertron things let new robots be built that could have anxiety?
The more sentience a being has, the more potential it has to have the full spectrum of emotions. They could have simply created robots that could only do what they were told, but to put it simply, what fun would that be?
Yeah, great way to have fun. Make a bunch of anxious robots.
The young bot's anxiety largely stemmed from an incident that occurred when he was younger, in which his mother had to save his life, but lost her own in the process. Like the human brain is constantly being rewired as new information comes into its awareness, Charlie's databanks were rewired to believe that being perpetually anxious could help keep himself and others safe by being more actively prepared for new threats, despite this being far more debilitating than helpful. Meanwhile, the reversed version of your friend Kayla in this world would be called Kaylee. She is a parasite constructed from the DNA of past decaying humans, made in an underground laboratory called Maximilian. It was run by a group called the Survival of the Community Program, and
Wait. Survival Community Program. Ayo, we got an SCP reference here, folks. We should have some sort of drinking game or something every time a new one of them pops up. Or like, take a bump of baby powder every time an SCP Foundation variant is revealed. You seriously still got baby powder after what happened with Sterling's granola? Wait, you know about that? That was canon? Just because you regret doing something doesn't mean you can just try and pretend it wasn't quote-unquote canon, Benny. You don't know that. Maybe I've made things not canon before. We wouldn't really know, right? Anyway, go on.
Kaylee was part of a project to try and bring back a cloned version of humanity by filling in gaps in the deteriorating remains of human DNA with RNA from plants and animals. But the human DNA they were working with had been infected in a way they had not detected, though it may actually have been known by one of the key members of their staff. Many of these attempts at reborn cloned humans ended up becoming parasitic monsters that would latch on to both organic and machine forms and alter them. Some, such as Kaylee, also gained enough sentience themselves to realize that they were trapped in this lab to possibly be destroyed as failed experiments. A containment breach eventually led to Kaylee escaping, along with many other of the parasites like her. They were then seen as a threat to robot kind, with the concern that they could latch on to robots and infect them with a virus by converting their robot forms into partial biological human forms, making them then susceptible to human viruses. They were thereafter referred to as the Parasitos, and were actively hunted by the Survival of the Community Program. Kaylee managed to evade them and hide in an old dump that was a remnant of humanity's time on Earth. Unexpectedly for her, she found Charlie there. He had gone there to look for a friend of his named Ibo. He was concerned that harm could befall her in this little explored remnant of the old world where she was bravely exploring. The temptation to latch onto a host was too much, and Kaylee leapt onto Charlie and, after some hesitation from him, was able to merge with his body, transforming limited parts of him at a time into biological human-like limbs.
Gross, but also what is the benefit of that? Sounds like that would just make him a lot weaker.
Well, you see, Kaylee is also able to shift into organic weaponry, such as creating a blood-spewing arm cannon that resembles a human heart, or put lungs on the bottom of his feet that can rapidly expand to make him jump higher.
Yikes, that's like some Jeff Goldblum the Fly type stuff, or The Thing or something. Real nasty, but also kinda in a way where I wanna keep looking at it, you know?
The grotesque is a lure not easily ignored, as the stimuli of disgust is more captivating than the mundane.
How is it that the Gopher has the biggest vocabulary of our whole group? Also, when did you learn to talk again? Did that come from you becoming an overseer, or like was you already some kind of sentient talking Gopher before that?
I'm sure you would like revealed all the secrets I hold, that they are mine to conceal.
Oh, fine, whatever. I'm more interested in this human parasite story anyway.
Well, right, perhaps I could reveal some elements of my tale.
Oh, really?
No, they are mine, and you can do nothing more than speculate on the intriguing details.
Ugh, whatever, Keeper.
Yes, well, Kaylee was able to help Charlie find his friend, who was under threat of being latched onto by a far less benevolent parasito. They all left the dump, and Charlie grew to appreciate Kaylee's company. She was able to help him overcome much of his anxiety, as both an added layer of protection to his physical form, while also being a rather pleasant and calming presence in his life. They were then even approached by one of the Eldertrons to track down the more dangerous parasitos, who sought to control the robots they attached themselves to. As it turned out, Kaylee was an anomaly among her breed by being willing to work with robot kind. It was learned later that the lead scientist of the survival of the community program, ELT-DB682, or Dreadbot, had the consciousness of a long-since deceased human named Dredigan Barkley. He was not simply looking to help bring some humans back, he wanted humanity to fully rise again to overthrow robot kind, as he saw them as soulless husks lacking any true consciousness. While he did want clones of humans made so they could rise up, he had also intentionally created the parasitos to start infecting and controlling robot kind.
Oh, wait a minute, ayo, I think we got a Dresden Oakland variant up in here. Wait, why? Dredigan Barkley, you mean? That only has like one letter in common with Dresden Oakland. Yeah, but think about it. Barkley, bark, like oak is a tree. Plus, this guy made the human parasite things like how Dresden created bio-mechs. Ah, right, okay. You know, I always kind of forget that was him, but yeah, you know what? You got me, that kind of works as a variant of him.
Yes, well, Charlie and Kaylee essentially became the main force fighting against Dreadbot as he created more parasitos, some incredibly dangerous ones, to try and take control of and overthrow robot kind. This could have been far too much emotionally for Charlie to handle, but with Kaylee as a positive influence on his mental health, he was able to overcome all the challenges that were brought his way. As his confidence built and the anxiety faded from more successful missions and overcoming his previous self-imposed limits, he was able to become a better and better hunter of the rogue parasitos. He and Kaylee even eventually made more friends with their own converted or inherently friendly parasitos, and despite his life being in danger far more regularly than it once was, Charlie's life became better and better after meeting Kaylee. Together, they even started being known by the public as heroes, going by the name Saito Charlie.
Oh, well, that's a pretty nice story right there. And? And nothing. Not everything I say is a quip or a gag or a goof about. Sometimes I just say a genuine thing.
Well, this is all perfectly pleasant, but I would like to be informed on any variant existences of myself that do or may someday exist. If there are other Archibald Partankerous Goobersons out there, I need to know of them so I may find and destroy them. There can be only one.
Wait, your name is Archibald Partankerous Gooberson? Did you just make that up or what?
Wouldn't you like to know?
That's a pretty sweet name, but if you did make it up yourself, I don't know if I can add it to my list. To qualify, someone has to have a crazy name that their parents gave them, knowing full well their kid was gonna have to go through life being called something ridiculous. Didn't know this list of names you got has its own rules and law, but alright. Anyway, I'd be down to hear about a version of Archibald here. Benny and I got some variant stories last time we was here, so yeah, let's go then.
Well, there may actually be a version of you in existence as we speak, though I certainly cannot tell you from which realm they hail, or more accurately, which realm they are the overseer of.
Wait, there are two Gopher out there?
No, this being who shares many similarities with your Archibald is, oddly enough, given this was referenced earlier in the conversation, a human.
Oh, did he once try to drown a gopher named Benny with a mech gun or something? I think I'd more likely be an otter or a dog or something, but someone trying to drown a dog would just be messed up, you know? And drowning a gopher ain't? Although, yeah, to be fair, I would be more sad hearing a story about a dog being drowned than a gopher, but no offense, Archie.
The weight of all slights leveled against me continues to mount and will not decay as the years move forth.
Do you write poetry or something? Cause I feel like you should. Yeah, I'd read that or listen to it and then snap or whatever you're supposed to do after poetry.
An intriguing proposition. Does my likely inferior human counterpart partake in the creation of eloquent written prose?
He does not, nor has he attempted to take the life of a gopher variant of Benny, though there is a being in his life with similarities to yourself, Benny. This overseer's name is also Archibald, and he resides in a world that is only slight deviations from the standard model of A001.
Wait, back that up for a sec. What does that mean? What's special about A001?
Well, A001 is what you may call the baseline universe. Some may even call it the most normal. In a sense, you could say it was the first created in this multiverse, and all others were made with varying levels of deviations and alterations from it.
Huh. Alright, so did the Archons make that one too? I mean, did the Archons actually make all the universes like they keep saying and folks keep saying? I don't even know where some of that info comes from sometimes.
I'm afraid if I reveal or confirm much more to you, I will have to erase the information from your minds.
Alright, never mind, Ben. I don't like you poking around in me memories.
Could we please return to the alternate tale of the lesser Archibald? I require more knowledge of him so I can decipher where he exists and hunt him down.
Well, I will not be telling you much that aids you in hunting him, but this Archibald's world is slightly more elevated technologically than the standard model. Similar to that of Benny's world, I suppose, though without nearly the same degree of superpowered individuals. Archibald had an encounter at a very young age with an overseer of his world, and spent the next 3 decades tracking down this being, with the intent to take the overseer abilities for himself. He came from a very wealthy family and had vast resources at his disposal, so eventually he was able to find this overseer. Prior to finding him though, he'd commissioned his very technologically savvy assistant to create a weapon for him that could allow Archibald to hold his own against this overseer's own abilities.
Oh, is that assistant a variant of me?
Yes, in a sense. His name is Jamie Sharp.
Wait. Is you saying sharp, like in Benny's accent, or is you actually saying sharp? I think she was saying sharp, not sharp. Tremendously unhelpful, Benny.
To clarify, the spelling is S-C-H-A-P.
Got it, so it's like the time I met a guy named Charlie, but like it was spelled C-H-O-L-I-E. So it sounded like I was saying it right by saying Charlie, but I was also pronouncing it the way I'd pronounce our buddy Charlie. That little detour really just hurt my brain, so getting back to it, did this Archie really manage to threaten an overseer into giving up his powers?
Not exactly. Jamie made a weapon for Archibald that shot beta rays and caused serious burns to whomever it struck.
So he's a human with a ray gun. Gotta say, he might be a little psychopath sometimes, but I like our Gopher with a ray gun better. Got a better flow, you know? Gopher with a ray gun.
Flattery is appreciated, Shark. Perhaps your demise will not be so imminent at my claws.
Archibald eventually found his mark and threatened him at ray gun point, but the Overseer turned out to be happy to give up his abilities to another. He had grown tired of the position and wanted to live out the rest of his life as a human without the responsibilities of an Overseer.
Yeah, 'cause most overseers is so responsible, right?
Archibald was granted the Overseer's abilities and is now functioning as the realm's Overseer, facing off against any beings or entities that threaten his world. Though he does have a tendency to be easily swayed to rid his world of someone he perceives as a threat, even if they do little more than threaten his honor.
Well, you may inform this impostor that his days as a feeble human imitation of a superior life form are numbered, and I will not permit any infirm variant of myself to tarnish the reputation of Archibald Parcotius Gooberson.
Wait, last time you said Partankerous was your middle name.
Do not deign to my superior intellect and claim I'd forget my own name. It is you who is mistaken.
Alright, say it again then.
Fine, my name is and always has been Archibald I do not have to repeat myself to an inferior feeble being.
Man, we gotta bring this guy with us more often. He's really growing on me. I mean, we could get someone else to listen in on the next 3 stories with us, but who knows? Let's see what happens.
I hope you all enjoyed that and know that part 2 is coming out a week from today instead of coming out on Monday, because I kind of left you all on a pretty big cliffhanger in the last Summoner's Beasts episode, and I want to get to the next episode of that on Monday. So next Friday we'll be getting part 2 of this. Huge thank you to everybody who has submitted, and a special thank you to the people that were chosen for today. The Blind Dragon, Xylan Tunes, and Ant. And I will now announce the next community redraw, in which I want you all to submit your own original mythological creature. Now, this can either be your own reinterpretation of an existing mythological creature, like a manticore, or a hydra, or a minotaur, or it can be your own completely original creation. Try to submit some lore with it so I know what this creature's abilities are like, but also keep in mind that what I'm going to be doing is taking a few different submissions and combining them into chimeras. So, probably don't submit a chimera, because I'm making chimeras from the submissions. And they may or may not play a part in one of the climactic final battles of one of my ongoing series, Mythol Lethal. Deadlines on screen, submit to popcrossanimations@gmail.com, and I am very excited to see what you all send in. Besides that, that's all for today, except of course for ending this video on some kind of positive or inspiring note, and the thought I want to leave people with today is something I heard a few weeks ago from a man named Peter Crone, who I've probably quoted before. He's a really interesting guy. And he said, "You can't change your past, but you can change the story you tell yourself about your past. You can reframe it into a way that may inspire you to be better instead of some past bad thing being debilitating to you now." For instance, there have been things that happened to me that at the time I looked at them as truly awful things that were heartbreaking or felt terrible. But as I've become a more mature and conscious person, I now look back at those pretty much exclusively as positive things that were pushing me into a better direction and helped me learn lessons from them that mean that when situations like that happen again, I'm not nearly as negatively impacted by them anymore. So think about a story you've been telling yourself about your past and think of how you might be able to reframe it to make it more inspiring and uplifting instead of something that hurts you. I hope that's inspiring. I love you all, and I'll see you all in the next episode on Monday. Goodbye.